So what is the point of your game? Of course, we're talking about goal setting. And I want to go over a couple of key points that a lot of people miss when setting goals for their game release. Did you set a specific goal for your game? If not, then you are missing a huge part of the development process. Because how do you know if your game is successful if you've got no marker point to say, yes, I passed it, which means it's successful? So let's talk about how you can do that and what it means to be successful. This would of course depend on the stage you're at with your game development. So if you are a brand new studio, you've never made a game before, you're just a solo developer and you want to create a game. What is the goal of this game? I'm sure you're going to say to sell 1 million copies and everything will be wonderful. But realistically, that's not going to happen. So what goals can you set in place to make it feel like you are progressing and you are successful? Because you'll be amazed at what you can achieve if you set the correct goals. So let's take a look at that now. If you are releasing your first game, then your goal should be to release your first game. And that is it. Don't worry about, I want to release my game, sell 1 million copies, get 100,000 followers on Twitter, and be known all over the internet. Unrealistic goals. Make goals that you can actually achieve. Another mistake people make with goals is making goals that they don't have control of. For example, I'll give you an example for YouTube. If I say, by the end of 2022, I want 1,000 subscribers on this channel. Okay, that sounds like a reasonable goal. But it's not. It's a stupid goal. Because I can't control directly if you click the subscribe button. There's nothing I can control. So my goal shouldn't be, I want to get 1,000 subscribers. The goal is actually, I want to create quality content and release 1 video a week for the next year. The things I can control, by the end of the year, if I've done 52 videos and I've released them every single Monday morning for the whole year, then I've achieved my goal of what I set out to do. The fact that whether you click the subscribe button or not is not down to me. It's down to me making quality content. Do you see what I mean? So I can control my content. I can control my schedule. It's just I can't control you. That is what I mean by setting correct goals, not goals you don't have control of. So back to the games. If you say, I want to sell 100,000 copies of my game. Great, that's a cool, I'll say goal. It's not a goal. It's an aim to go for. You want to do that. But more importantly, you can control releasing your game, doing all the things you need to do to submit it to stores, start building up your social connections and your networks and your Twitter and Facebook and Instagram and whatever you decide to do. If you've done all those things and you've released your game, then you should see that as a success, because this is your first game. The most important thing is to get the game released. You will learn so much by just going through that process. I'll give you an example. Would you say this game has a successful launch? No? Okay. So by the looks of it, these numbers, it's had a few downloads, a few page views, and that's it in a few months. That looks like a failure to me. Well, it's not. This is actually my game that I released. And for me, this is a huge success because my goal was to have a game created, release it onto itch.io. I think you can see it's released, and build up a community around it. I've created some videos about how to do it and spoken to people about it. So perfect. That has been released. People can download the game right now. Feel free. I'll leave a link below if you want to try it. Now I can move on to my next project because I've completed the goals that I wanted to in that game. So let's just say your goal is to make a full-time living from game creation. This is going to depend on how you set the game up from the very start of your project. Did you set out a realistic business plan to make it the most successful game you could possibly make? Because if you didn't, then you've already failed on that one, I'm afraid. So when you started your game, did you look at the best way of making money out of a game, which was choose a game with the biggest search history, sales history, style, all those things? Did you research all the things you need to research to find out what games people are actually playing and actually buying? Because if you just made the game that you felt like making, a lot less chance of success. So let's look at if you've released a couple of games already, you've done a few little projects, and now you want to start taking it a bit more serious, how can you make a goal where you can move things along? And that is the key point. Your next game, you need to start researching the games that people want to actually play. I think a lot of mistakes people make is you don't have to create a whole game and then test it. You can create a little snippet, one level, a little slice of a game as a prototype and put it out there and let people play it, let people test it. Just, it can be, like I said, one little tiny bit of a level. See what the visuals and people are reacting to, and test what people think about your game. Don't be afraid to experiment and ask for feedback on this game idea that you've had and see what happens. I know you're already thinking, but what if someone steals my idea? You know, in fact, if you're worried about that, then you're going to be worried about it forever. You can't worry about people stealing your ideas. Come up with something unique, come up with something that's yours, and test people with it and see what they think. So your next goal should be, what can you do to improve on your last game? So maybe it's the marketing, you were really poor on your last game. Well, okay, so your next game, you know you need to work on your marketing. So you need to do a bit more research and time and build a marketing plan for your game. Talk to people, connect with streamers and content creators and other developers. Maybe the games that you've done before, you've done all the artwork yourself. And really, art's not your huge skill. That's not your main sort of skill point. So you think, okay, so maybe the artwork is letting me down a little bit. Maybe I need to work on the animations. So start thinking about, could you work with an artist? Could you afford to save up and pay an artist to create your artwork for you? If that's becoming your sort of bottleneck of quality, then maybe you need to start looking at where your strengths are and where that time is better spent getting an artist to actually do it for you. So then your next game will be a game that you've created, but you've pulled someone in to do the artwork for you and released the game like that. And then you can see, has that improved things? I was going to create this video as part of a whole series about how to set things up for your game success. However, I feel like sometimes when you do the multi 5 top tips for game developers, I think a few of the tips get a little bit lost in the list. So I want to break these down into more individual videos. So that's what I've done. So this was your setting goals video, and I'll move on to more videos about how to build a community, how to set your game up in the very first place with a marketing plan. And we'll do some individual videos like that. If there's an area you'd like me to cover, then please leave a comment below. And good luck with your game, and let me know. You're welcome to drop your links below, and I'll take a look. All right. Catch you next time. Bye-bye.